Welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast, where sales leaders teach you what's working for them so that you can build it yourself. 13 years ago, I launched a CRM, convinced I was going to change the world. But I very quickly came in violent contact with reality when, after 18 months, I still only had one customer, yet I didn't have any of that savings that I had been so diligently saving. My friends called me the cockroach of Launch Academy, not because I was brilliant, but because I just wouldn't quit. And no matter what bad things seemed to happen, I just always showed up the next day. What I learned is something that nobody talks about, and that's every startup has a death wish. In the early days, it felt like my company was suicidal daily, like a toddler running around with scissors. You'd hide the scissors and it would find a knife. You'd hide the knife and it would find a gun. I don't even own a gun. Where did a gun come from? One day it would be a lost client. The other day, an opportunity that you should have closed. Another day, and this actually happened, finding a formula error in your forecast sheet that says you have more revenue than you actually do. And so your cash position is all out of whack. Yeah, really happened. That was not a fun one to find on a Friday. But fortunately, like a toddler, your startup grows up and it goes from like daily suicide attempts to hopefully weekly suicide attempts and then quarterly. And now 13 years later at Predictable Revenue, it seems to happen once or twice a year, though things like pandemics and economic challenges seem to maybe accelerate those things. The chaos stays the same. You just get better at riding the roller coaster. Let me give you an example. 5 months ago, I shut down our biggest revenue driver. It cost me 6 figures, and our net profit went from profitable, but not great, to negative 30% operating profit in like a month. If this was 10 years ago, I'd probably be having nightly panic attacks, staring at the ceiling until 3:30, just trying to will myself to go to sleep. But today, today I'm fine, but 5 months ago, I was stressed, but calm because I had a plan and I had a process. And like I said at the beginning, the roller coaster is the same. You just get used to riding it. The big difference between 10 years ago and today is 10 years ago, I just had a plan. Today, I've got a plan and a process. And that process is decide on the plan. Got it. Identify the levers I need to move it forward. Pull those levers as hard as I can. 4, repeat. The hardest part, resisting the urge to thrash around and change the plan when everything feels really urgent. It's the, I'm going to stick to the plan unless new information is surfaced. That's the hardest piece. Otherwise, you're constantly updating and iterating, and then you're plan version 115, and you've totally lost the plot. You started with kind of one thing and you ended up buying a bar. Like you're that far off of where your initial intentions because you're just reacting all these micro adjustments. And when everything feels urgent, it's really easy to just thrash. At least that was my biggest struggle. And the result may hit 20% in net profit. In June's tracking towards 30%. But that doesn't tell the whole story because it doesn't tell you how I felt and what my experience was. And yes, candidly, I was stressed through this process. But I didn't lose myself. I was able to compartmentalize and still be myself. I've got kids. I was still able to be dad. I've got friends. I was still able to be Colin, the idiot friend. I got a wife and I was still able to be her useless husband. And I think the biggest reason is that I had a process and I trusted the process, that I wasn't going to adjust unless new information came up. And I wasn't going to check for new information every 5 minutes. Being a cockroach isn't about brilliance or boldness. It's about one thing, survival. It's being so stubborn that you just won't quit and knowing that if you just keep going and ducking and weaving, you're going to get through that. So if you're somewhere in the middle of a drop right now, let me tell you this. Checking your metrics every hour, every 15 minutes, or even at 3 a.m. isn't helping your anxiety. But what will is focused action. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you think of something new, write it down and then give yourself permission to go back to sleep. Because the best thing you can do for tomorrow is get back to sleep. After 13 years of wild swings, failed plans, and near-death pivots, here's what I know for sure. The highs are worth the lows, but the highs don't mean anything without the lows. It's the burns, it's the bad beats that teach you more than the wins. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just hang on. So if you're in the chaos, just keep hanging on. And welcome to the Cockroach Club.